How's it going, everybody? It's me, Josh, on the MTG Homebrew Network, and I'm coming to you with a Pauper deck tech for a white Weenie ETB Enchantment deck. The name of this deck on Moxfield is White Weenie Enchantment ETB Subtheme. And I don't know, that's a pretty self-explanatory name for the deck. It's not a very interesting deck, to be perfectly honest with you. The deck does two things: play creatures and draw cards. And that's it, more or less. We have a lot of cards that enter the battlefield and draw. We have Throbbing Inspector, we have Spirited Companion, we have Inspiring Overseer, we have Search Party Captain, all here to draw cards. There are more cards in the Pauper format that say when this card enters the battlefield, draw a card in mono white, but there are so many of them, we've chosen the best ones. For example, we are on Spirited Companion over the cat that does the exact same thing because this card is also an enchantment. We'll get into why that's important later. Besides that, we're running some good just tempo creatures to beat people up. We have Summon Choco Mog in here as a way to buff all of our creatures that we're going to have. We have 30 creatures, that's literally half our deck to attack with. We have Core Skyfisher to help pick up our draw card creatures so we can draw cards again. We have 2 copies of Hopeful Eidolon in here just as a 1-drop that's pretty decent for us to play on curve, and also gives us some lifelink, which is good for longevity in a lot of games, and it's an enchantment. Enchantments matter for our Slumbering Keep Guard. The Keep Guard says whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under our control, we scry 1, and then also we can use him to get +1/+1 for each enchantment we control until end of turn, and that's not a once per turn ability, that can stack. So if we're just at the end of the game, we just have a ton of mana, we can start spamming this ability to get more mana and eventually win the game that way. Or not to get more mana. If we're at the end of the game and we have a ton of mana, we can start spamming this ability to get more power and toughness and eventually win the game that way. It's a combat trick. It's very, very useful and very good. Our removal package is also enchantments. We have 4 Journey to Nowhere, 3 Oblivion Ring, with more of them in the sideboard. These will all trigger our Keep Guard. They can also be picked up and moved around with our Core Skyfisher if a better target presents itself. And lastly, we have Cartouche of Solidarity, which makes a 1/1 with Vigilance, which is really good just because we want to have a ton of creatures, and also buffs one of our creatures and gives it first strike, and we can pick it up with the Core Skyfisher over and over again to keep triggering our Keep Guard and making 1/1s and getting in there. The whole premise of this deck is to tempo out opponents by playing creatures that replace themselves by drawing a card, and then continuing to play more creatures that continue to do that, and eventually dropping a Choco Mog and just attacking for big damage. It's, I think, a very strong deck. Sideboard is going to be dependent on what decks you're expecting to play against. It should be Silver Bullets to beat those. We don't have great matchups against, Something of Hate, the board wipe that gives everything -2/-2, Pyroclasm, other things like that, so it's good to prepare for those matchups. Things like Heroic, we have target player sacrifices and attacking creature cards for things to beat that deck. Lots of stuff that you can put in the sideboard for options, but basically you just want to figure out what deck is going to be able to kill you early or somehow outvalue you. I don't even know how you would outvalue this deck besides just having gigantic creatures or killing it early, but being able to beat that with your sideboard is very important. And that is more or less the entire deck. It is a very, very simple Pauper deck. I personally have done very well with this deck. I haven't lost a game with it in like almost a year. I don't play a ton of Pauper. I'm only on like 15-ish games with it, but I've beaten Cycle Storm, I've beaten Ponza, I've beaten Jund tokens, I've beaten Boros Synthesizer, I've beaten Dimir Terror. Whether or not those decks were being piloted by people who knew what they were doing is up in the air. That's up for questioning. But I think this is a very strong deck that has a great little niche in the Pauper format. And if you enjoy attacking with creatures, not thinking too hard about your game decisions, and saying White Weenie, then this is a great deck for you. Check it out, and if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments.